Developing today, a growing plot to try and drag down Catherine, the Princess of Wales, into the ongoing scandal involving Prince Andrew, Sarah Ferguson, Beatrice, and Eugenie. Now, this was totally transparent to me. I saw it coming from a mile off because first, of course, they tried to blame the late Queen Elizabeth II. Then they tried to blame Prince William. It was only a matter of time before they tried to bring Catherine into this mess as well. Of course, things are just getting darker for the Yorks at the moment. Fergie has now been dumped by Woke ITV. That was one of her last employers who used her as a regular guest on Loose Women and This Morning, after the revelations of her emails showing that not only did she beg for forgiveness from Jeffrey Epstein, but she begged for his dirty money to the tune of $50,000 and $100,000 even after he was a convicted paedophile. She's now off TV. So things are descending into the gutter fast. But that's why I think this completely transparent campaign to try in some way target Catherine to do with all of this via the Daily Mail and via Liz Jones. Remember, she's one of the Wicked Witches of the West that I've spoken about, shall we say the Wicked Witches of the Mail, who over the past few weeks have been used by Tobin Andre, who is the Director of Communications for King Charles, to specifically target Prince William and Catherine. And so today I'm calling it out for what it is. Okay, because what we have to be able to do is look at this mainstream media coverage and understand why this is happening. And it might be unpalatable for you to believe that it is actually coming from Buckingham Palace. Just trust me on this. That type of briefing and counter briefing has been going on for a very long time. But Catherine has stayed out of this, okay? She's not at all behind this. But let me just tell you what Liz Jones has said. Then we're going to get reaction and analysis from royal YouTube sensation P. Diner. But Liz Jones writes, why I believe Ruthless Kate's the driving force. Ruthless Kate? I mean, come on! What planet are you on, woman? Ruthless Kate's the driving force behind Andrew's eviction and why no one now dares cross her. And she goes on, it's little wonder that William is rumoured to be the driving force behind Andrew's exit. He's supposedly determined to ensure his beyond hideous uncle, as TV's Emily Maitlis says the Prince of Wales regards Andrew, will not be his new neighbour nightmare. But let's not forget, Kate, another instrumental player in the lodge-off. She isn't a blood relative of her husband's creepy uncle. Her life's work is to protect children, and apparently she shudders at the thought of living so close to Royal Lodge. She doesn't see this as just a scandal that threatens the monarchy and therefore her offspring's secure future, but as one that has already ruined the lives of scores of young women. There is no doubt Kate will have strong views on this unfolding royal fiasco. She knows her power. Look at how swiftly, unflinchingly she saw off Meghan. Remember that icy stare when the former Fab Four did a walkabout before Queen Elizabeth's funeral? She's like a lioness protecting her territory. And anyone who can come through cancer is not to be messed with. Cancer survivors are the strongest people you will ever meet. Charles has been slow to grasp the Andrew question. William has been too. But like any mother of 3 children, Kate just wants it done. Today! To roll up her sleeves and clean the house in more ways than one. As the only jewel left shining brightly in the crown, what Kate wants, Kate gets. So, P. Diner, I've got to say, I know exactly what is being done with this column. Because you've got to read between the lines. Because obviously on the surface, you can say, well, Liz Jones has sort of been nice about Catherine, you know, praising her as a cancer survivor. But trust me, I have reported on this woman, the Princess of Wales, for, the last 2 decades. This characterization of her as some ruthless ball breaker who is secretly making the decisions behind the scenes is for the birds. Yes, of course she cares about her family. Yes, of course she cares about her royal family. Yes, of course she desperately cares about the protection of women. But she also trusts her husband. P. Dinah, and she understands that her husband is the future monarch, and her husband is the one who has absolutely been dealing with this situation, has been trying to deal with this situation for years. So to try and say that in some way William has looked away here is ludicrous. No, Liz Jones might not want to accept this, P. Dinah, but Catherine and William have a functioning relationship, both a professional and personal relationship where they back each other up. And yes, Catherine has supported William like she always does, but she isn't involved in these conversations. She's not getting in front of William. She didn't try and force Meghan out of the royal family. And I am going to start calling this bullshit out from the Daily Mail for what it is, because I know a lot of it, P. Dinah, is coming directly from Buckingham Palace. And what they want to do is make us look the other way. And I just don't think it's fair. You know, it's not fair to misrepresent Catherine in this manner.
Right. It's really a dirty game,
Yeah.
isn't it, that they're playing with her? I mean, you no matter what you try to do, you're never going to make Catherine be this person you're trying to say she isn't with these words, because we know that's just not very truthful. But I mean, Catherine is, I mean, she is the sweetest, most accommodating, mission-driven woman who is just doing what she does and doing it beautifully. Absolutely, from the palace, someone has to be trying to change the narrative to take their eyes off of other things. But, this is going in a direction that will not really get any traction at all. Catherine also at the same time would not undermine her husband this way. And what does that say about William and what he's capable of doing and what he has been doing? He's able to handle himself perfectly fine. So it just seems like you're trying to change the direction of a narrative, and trying to really pick on somebody who really is the biggest, I think, I know, the stronghold of the firm. I think they have Catherine. The work that she has done, what she represents, is really good for the monarchy. And then to try to make her out to be this kind of a person is like shooting yourself in the foot, because, like, she is your superstar. She's the one that's so beloved by the people. I mean, what are you thinking? This woman is definitely not that kind of a woman. I mean, she's a mother of young children and, working to fight for vulnerable children. Why would, you try to do something that would undermine these things? It's so ruthless and mean. I don't get it, Dan.
Oh, I totally agree, but I do understand why they're doing it. I don't agree with what they're doing, but I understand why they're doing it, because the team at Buckingham Palace, P. Dinah, believe that their number one mission in life is to protect the monarch above anything else. And in some ways it is. And the problem is, at the moment, Charles is being seriously criticized for his handling not just of the Andrew situation, but of the Harry situation. And so what you're seeing is this desperate attempt to do down other members of the family. I mean, they're trying to do down the late Queen Elizabeth II, which I hate as well. And Canal Citadel, now she's absolutely pro William and Catherine, but she's been on this for a long time, right? And I think she made a very important point this week, P. Dinah. She wrote, the latest Ipsos poll for the royal family is out. Surprise, the one who is known to be the adult in the room and the problem solver is still leading the poll, like the future king he is. Being responsible and acting in a dignified manner pays off. Keeping calm and carrying on pays off. Quietly facing challenges and working to fix the issues rather than complain and play victim pays off. Since the Queen died, the next leader has been leading. And this is the problem, P. Dinah, for the king, that William has been absolutely supported by the public, not just in terms of his dealing in regards to the the Andrew situation, but also the Harry situation too. Where, remember, I previously reported he begged and pleaded with his father not to reopen the door to Harry, not to show that weakness. What happened, P. Dinah? He did. There was the meeting, then there were the leaks, and then there were the ongoing security issues between Harry and the government, where, against the advice of the royal family, he once again is lobbying the government. So it's like, you can understand why William feels frustrated, but he's tried to help his father. This is the thing. It's like he's tried to help his father. He's tried to make his father do the right thing for the good of the monarchy. But I think the public are very much starting to understand, P. Dina, that we need some of William's ruthlessness. And I don't actually use ruthlessness as a pejorative term. I view it as a positive term in these circumstances where we need someone who is going to be a little bit ruthless. Because if we don't deal with the Andrew and Fergie and the Beatrice and Eugenie problem now, and we don't deal with the Harry and Meghan problem and the Archie and Lily problem now, it's only going to get worse. Like, what happens in a decade or 2 decades when you've got Beatrice and Eugenie doing God knows what deals again with banks in the Middle East, and who knows what Archie and Lily are doing? So let's deal with it now. And that's what William wants. And I think the public are very much on side with him. That is an issue for Buckingham Palace at the moment, which is fighting to not only portray the king as not a lame duck, and let's be honest, Pete Diner, I have huge sympathy. I mean, the scenes this week were awful. You know, the heckling and him just looking so unwell. And so I don't want people to think that I don't have a huge amount of personal sympathy for what the king is going through. But do you understand the point that I'm making? But for
Yes, I think it's, there's so much that has to happen, but when you are dealing with an illness and you have these stresses from the public, I think you just kind of have to be physically capable of dealing with a lot of things that can cause stress on yourself. And I think maybe trying to turn the attention somewhere else so that you don't have to deal with it is probably what's happening here. I know that the king, when he was Prince of Wales, there was a lot of jealousy issues around Diana. I think it's just, things that you're trying to deal with in this later in life that it's like why deal with these things and why put these stresses and have these feelings about trying to divert attention from yourself and things that you're dealing with, like embrace it because it's good for you. The monarch should, I think, try to embrace what William is trying to say and do because he is so beloved, William and Catherine, by the people. And I think this waffling between these decisions about what to do with Andrew and Harry and it's like just deal with it head on, but he just doesn't have the strength or the ability to because of how he's dealt with things in the past before. It just seems like in these positions you need true leadership, and sometimes leadership calls for making these tough decisions and doing things that you don't maybe want to do, and you need to do it. And I think because of the illness and things that are happening stress wise on the king, he's not doing it. And you really do have to, because the monarchy at this point, I think, is going to suffer from the things of Andrew and Harry, and they won't go away. And the king just needs to make some really hard decisions. And I think turning on or trying to divert attention towards these, other family members that, they may be the problem. I don't know. It's not a good move. It shows weakness to me. It
yeah,
really does.
100%. And also it's like, this is your son. This is your son.
Right.
And that was your mother, and Charles, I'm sorry. You've got to say to your courtiers and your friends who are leaking this information to the Sunday Times, they're off limits. The
That's right.
legacy and the reputation of Queen Elizabeth II, it's off limits. And the future of my son, trying to do that down, that's off limits too. You've got to make calls like that sometimes, P. Diner. And he could make that call, and at this point he hasn't. And the briefing game's been going on for a long time, but I don't like it. I really don't. I mean, unity is what works. I remember the days when Victoria and David Beckham used to have respective PR teams, P. Diner, that would brief against the other member of the relationship. And it was disastrous. There were terrible headlines about them for years. Look at what happened when they became unified, when they became one team. And they started working in lockstep with each other. It's worked for them. It's really worked for them. I think the same could be said for the royal family at the moment, to be honest. But look, we've got to talk about some of the details of the week, especially for Sarah Ferguson, actually, Fergie P. Diner, because she's not okay, and
Mm.
people say breakdown, people say meltdown. I'm certainly told things are not okay for her. And it's a tough one, isn't it? Because, of course, you've got that sense of humanity, and we've grown up with this woman. But my God, she's done stupid things, Pete Diner. My God, she has done
Mm.
stupid, stupid things. But now, you see a headline like she has nowhere to go or anyone else to go with. It's grim stuff. And now she has also been axed from one of her last paying jobs, P. Diner. This is ITV Daytime and Loose Women and This Morning, which are two of our biggest daytime shows, sort of the equivalent of the Today Show and The View in America. But here's the reporting from Katie Hind of the Daily Mail. Sarah Ferguson, once hailed a savior of ITV's daytime schedule, has been dumped by the broadcaster. After she was pulled into the Jeffrey Epstein scandal that has swirled around her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, for more than a decade, Fergie has seen backers fall away. Now, after being dropped by a slew of charities and fearing her career as a children's author is over, ITV bosses have confirmed that the former Duchess of York will no longer appear on their shows. Sources within the broadcaster say that when she was brought in, appearing on This Morning and Loose Women, Fergie was adored by the upper echelons of the company due to what they describe as a relatable nature. They also thought Ms. Ferguson was very likeable to viewers, but her world has come crashing down following more revelations about Andrew's dealings with convicted paedophile Epstein, and after the Mail on Sunday uncovered an email the former Duchess wrote to the disgraced financier apologising profusely for disassociating from him publicly following his conviction in 2008 for procuring a girl under 18 for sex. One insider told the Daily Mail, Fergie won't be appearing on ITV again. There is nothing in the pipeline for her. There was once such high hopes for her. She appeared on This Morning as a guest presenter and contributor as well as Loose Women. Fergie did a lot with ITV for a time and was always part of the gang. She was very much part of the plans at ITV, but no more. There will be no more Fergie on ITV. There are no longer any current plans or any more any time in the future. She's done with the channel now.
Mm.
So pretty brutal, P. Diner, but at the same time, and I'm no fan of woke ITV, but can you blame them? I mean, after the leak of those emails, she's become toxic. And you could actually argue, P. Diner, the cancellation of Fergie is coming a decade and a half too late. I was working at the News of the World when she offered the fake sheikh an opportunity to buy access to Andrew, who was at that point a working member of the royal family. I mean, my point being, there's been warning after warning after warning for this woman. And I'm not saying I don't have some humanity for her. When you grow up with someone and you see them go through so many traumas and so much pain, and, there was all of the Duchess of Pork stuff, and I really related to Fergie because I've always struggled with my weight too. I'm not being a bastard here, is what I'm saying, P. Diner. I do have some humanity for her.
Yeah.
But, I just don't really see what other outcome she expected.
Right. I mean, she's made so many mistakes. It's like, does she ever learn from the things that she has done? And now it's just up. She just needs to realize, hey, the jig is up. And now she just needs to go off and isolate herself. And when I hear things about her, homeless and nowhere to go, that to me sounds like, come on now. You don't have anywhere to go. What about your kids? What about the money you've made? I think she has just lost all reality. I mean, what do you expect people to do? You have made some mistakes, you've done some things that you should not have done, and now you just have to pay the consequences. It's really that simple. And I think coming forth and saying, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm done, and I understand." And stop trying to make yourself the victim. She is nothing more than another version of Meghan Markle, okay? Her and her husband, okay? This is ridiculous, woman. Just go off with the little bit of money you have and say it was a good run while it lasted. And be done with it, because trying to be this victim and make yourself to be like you don't have nowhere else to go, it's just like you don't understand what real people out here are having to go through. And you've had a lot of opportunity to make a lot of money. Okay? So you should be okay.
Well, yeah, yeah,
You
and
know?
especially given what people I think just have no time for, P. Diner, is the whole, you know, the royal family need to provide me with a house. You know, why? You haven't
Yeah,
been a
that's
member of the royal family for
ridiculous.
30 years. It's nuts. And you've had so much money and you've spent so much money. It's almost,
Mhm.
look, there's a Shakespearean tragedy like arc to the storyline of the entire York family. You know, Sarah,
Mhm.
Andrew, Beatrice, and Eugenie. Actually, they could have gone and done good work, but it's almost like they've been gluttons. You know, they've been gluttons in
Yeah.
so many ways. P. Diner, Tom Sykes of the Royalist blog on Substack is not at all happy with this briefing against Queen Elizabeth II that we were talking about. I just want to show you what he had to say and get your reaction.
Decisions were routed through his office. So I think it's absolutely outrageous for the king to now be saying that this is all Queen Elizabeth's fault, that she left an unexploded bomb under his monarchy. And, you know, that is what they're saying. It seems to me that Queen Elizabeth has quite a lot to answer for. It's as if she left an unexploded bomb for Charles. I think I think it's really evidence of how deep the panic and the fear is in the palace, how fractured the decision making is there, how set against each other the factions in the palace are. And I think it's also, it feels to me very, very gaslighty. And what I mean by that is that, as I was saying, Charles had operational control over the direction of the monarchy after Christopher Guy was ousted in 2017. He was the architect of the deal that got rid of Andrew in 2020, stripping him of the HRH. He was heavily involved in the 2022 payoff. And I do feel that the Queen, yes, she was indulgent of Andrew. I know she allowed him to walk him in to Prince Philip's memorial service. I'm aware of all of that. But ultimately, she left Andrew with a settlement that was sustainable and tolerated by the public, which was that Andrew was not going to be seen very much, if at all. That was how it was left, frankly, when she died in September 2022. Immediately that she died, Charles was the one who, in his anxiety to be seen as the great healer and Charles the convener and Charles the generous and Charles the merciful, immediately started to rehabilitate Andrew, beginning with the funeral itself.
P. Diner, do you agree with Tom Sykes?
Yeah, I do. I agree. Like the king is able to do things when it suits him or when he wants to, but when it's time to make the hard decisions, it's just like, oh, my mom, like she's now the one you're going to throw under a bus, like she's not even here anymore. It's like take ownership, and I think it was a mistake to bring Andrew back and to try to have sympathy for him. And now look, you have a mess on your hands. So, the king just does not like to make the hard decisions once again, and it's nobody's fault. I mean, it stops with you. You're the king. You had decision-making powers, as Tom was saying here, when the queen was alive. So, you should have followed the blueprint of the late queen and not try to change things. And now you're in another conundrum, and you just got to make these hard decisions right now. It's pretty simple. I just don't understand why is he so weak in his stance and have to gaslight and say these things about his late mother. I mean, just you have to deal with this Andrew situation because you went outside of what the late queen had already put in place. Now deal with it. Why is that so difficult? I don't understand it. And I have to make decisions all the time and that you don't want to make. It's almost like, I'm too entitled to have to feel this uncomfortable about what I have to do. It's, it's
Totally.
like just do it. That's
Totally.
what I say.
Very well put, P. Diner. And of course, if you want so much more of that shrewd and entertaining royal analysis, then do sign up to P. Diner's brilliant YouTube channel. Subscribe. It's PD P. Diner, we love having you here on Outspoken, though. Thank you so much. We will speak next week.
A major royal shake-up is now underway, as King Charles III has officially stripped Prince Andrew of his remaining titles and ordered him to vacate his lavish Royal Lodge mansion in Windsor. According to The Sun on Sunday, the decision, though made by the King, had the quiet support of Prince Harry, who has privately backed his father's firm action against Andrew. Sources close to the Duke of Sussex revealed that Harry has maintained regular contact with the King since their brief meeting in London last September. Although living in the United States, Harry is said to have spoken with his father several times in recent weeks and fully supports ending Andrew's royal allowance. The move follows years of mounting controversy surrounding Andrew's association with Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender. Royal insiders claim that Queen Camilla played a critical role in advising the King after being alerted to new, incriminating emails linking Andrew financially to Epstein. The messages reportedly exposed tens of millions of dollars in questionable transactions, including suggestions that Epstein bankrolled Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, for 15 years. Camilla was reportedly tipped off by someone close to her that these explosive messages were about to surface, prompting her to urge the King to act before more damage was done. While Buckingham Palace has not commented on the leak, a spokesperson emphasised that their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies remain with the victims and survivors of all forms of abuse. In the wake of the King's announcement, former Chief Crown Prosecutor Nazir Afzal called for a new police investigation into Virginia Giuffre's allegations of sexual abuse against Andrew. Afzal told the press that the claims were credible and deserved to be properly investigated if supported by evidence. Across the Atlantic, US politicians have also urged the Duke to cooperate with investigators and face questions about his ties to Epstein. Meanwhile, Princess Beatrice and her husband, Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, were spotted in Windsor over the weekend, though it remains unclear whether Beatrice visited her father. Royal sources confirmed that the decision to remove Andrew's titles was made by the King alone, though it was discussed in consultation with the wider royal family and government advisers. Both Queen Camilla and Prince William are said to have fully supported the move. William, now 43, is reported to have already relocated with Kate Middleton into Forest Lodge, their forever home, located just a mile away from Andrew's former residence, perhaps a symbolic sign of the royal family's transition. The King's ruling came only 2 weeks after Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were stripped of their Duke and Duchess of York titles, ending more than 2 decades of royal privileges. For 22 years, the couple had occupied Royal Lodge without paying rent, though Andrew originally paid for the lease and invested millions in renovations. After refusing earlier requests to downsize, he is now set to move to the Sandringham estate in Norfolk by the end of January. In what many see as an act of royal mercy, King Charles will provide private financial support to ensure Andrew's relocation, though Fergie will not live with him or in any royal residence. A YouGov poll released over the weekend revealed overwhelming public support for the King's decision, with 79% of Britons agreeing that Andrew should lose his royal titles. Prince Harry has declined to comment publicly, but palace insiders describe him as being in full agreement with the King's efforts to protect the monarchy's integrity. As for Prince Andrew, he continues to deny all allegations against him, but his fall from grace appears complete. Once a royal war hero and trusted son of the late Queen Elizabeth II, he now faces life in quiet exile, stripped of power, status, and reputation.